9 Sinister Secrets of the Cursed Gas Station in Northern New Hampshire, what is hidden and haunted. The night draped the crumbling gas station in shadow, its flickering neon sign casting unsettling glows on the peeling paint. Sarah felt the weight of solitude settle on her shoulders as she flipped the sign to read open. Strange whispers danced on the chilling winds, tales of missing children, and dark secrets buried beneath the rusted pumps. It was a place of dread, yet it was her lifeline, her struggle to keep her children fed and warm. But tonight was different. The air crackled with tension. A gust of wind rattled the shuttered windows, sending a shiver down her spine. Shadows darted in the corners of her vision, and she shook her head, brushing it off as exhaustion. Just fatigue, she whispered to herself, though every nerve in her body screamed otherwise. She shifted her gaze toward the door as it swung open, and the chill grew stronger. Just outside, her daughter Lily, barely 7, rushed in for a quick errand. The night was cloaked in an eerie silence, and when the little girl didn't return after a few moments, Sarah's heart raced, drumming a suffocating rhythm in her chest. Lily. Panic gripped her throat. She dashed outside, the darkness swallowing her whole. Lily. Nothing except the rustling leaves answered. Each passing second felt like an eternity. The full moon was lurking behind the clouds, its light barely breaking through as Sarah stumbled down the dimly lit road, calling her daughter's name. No answer. The pit in her stomach deepened as she returned to the gas station, her anxious breath fogging the air. The sheriff arrived grudgingly. His words dripped with disinterest, assuring her that kids often wandered off. "You'll find her," he mumbled, glancing at his watch. Despair surged through Sarah. It was as if the townsfolk were indifferent to her plight, the very people who whispered the tales of disappearances. Back inside the gas station, Sarah felt the weight of 9 centuries of unsolved horrors crushing her. The back room, dust-coated and filled with forgotten relics, beckoned her. As she sifted through the scraps of history, chilling secrets began to unfold. Each missing child's portrait faded, yet their absence pulsed with life. The walls seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. Then the lights flickered. An electric hum buzzed through the air, sending a cold sweat across her skin. Tools clattered, and shadows grew into malevolent shapes. She could almost hear them laughing, the echoes of children lost to time. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as blood surged danger through her veins, the door slowly creaked open, chilling her to the bone. The darkness swirled thick like fog, and the lights cut out, plunging her into a smothering black. A hand, cold as death, brushed against her back. She turned sharply, her heart hammering as her breath quickened. Something was there, something not from this world. Clutching the remnants of her courage, Sarah faced the deepening shadows, knowing each second was precious as she sought her daughter. As the gas station trembled around her, secrets screamed to be unearthed, but would she live to uncover the truth waiting just beyond the flickering lights? The silence in the gas station pressed down like a weight, thick and suffocating. Sarah's pulse throbbed in her temples. She reached for the flashlight tucked away behind the counter, her fingers trembling as she fumbled it into action. The beam cut through the darkness, revealing the backroom's cluttered chaos, broken shelves, dust-layered boxes, and, in the far corner, a lingering shadow. "Lily?" she called out, her voice trembling. The beam danced nervously across the walls, illuminating the portraits of the missing children, each face a haunting reminder of loss. Had they all vanished just like her daughter? A low whisper curled through the room, chilling the air further. It wasn't the wind, it felt closer, more sinister. With renewed urgency, she pressed deeper into the back room. The ground felt uneven beneath her feet, as if it shifted with dread. Shadows clung to the corners, sneering at her desperation. Suddenly, a soft giggle echoed from behind a stack of boxes. Sarah's heart leaped. "Lily!" she cried, sprinting toward the sound, only to find emptiness. The chill in the air grew palpable, wrapping around her like icy fingers tightening their grip. Sarah's breathing sped up, desperation clawing at her throat. Just then, another flicker of light pulsed, briefly revealing a figure, a little girl with tangled brown hair, hunched over and facing away from her. Relief surged through Sarah, mingled with dread. "Lily, is that you?" she begged, moving closer. But as she reached out, the girl turned. That face, it was not her daughter's. A twisted smile stretched across the pale skin, eyes void of life, yet full of mischief. "Come play with us," the girl hissed, mocking. Fear crashed over Sarah like a tidal wave. "Where's Lily?" she shouted into the suffocating darkness, inching back as the figure stepped forward, revealing a circle of children lurking behind her, their hollow eyes wide and gleeful, their laughter churning into a cacophony that echoed off the walls. They swarmed around her, claws stretching toward her as if pulling her into their realm. Their voices intertwined, whispering secrets that scratched the surface of her sanity. "Join us, be found forever lost." "No," she screamed, heart racing as she staggered backwards, her mind spiraling. With a sudden surge of instinct, Sarah turned to flee. As she sprinted out of the room, she couldn't ignore the feeling of cold fingers grazing her back, pushing her on, urging her to stay, but she couldn't stay. Not now. Not until she found Lily. Outside, darkness wrapped around her like a shroud. The full moon flickered in and out of the clouds, leaving her to navigate the uneven road by instinct alone. The gas station loomed behind her, a silent malevolence, its charred wood creaking as if whispering sweet nothings meant to lure her back. "Lily!" she called again, louder this time. The voice of the children echoed back, merging with the rustling leaves. They were too close, she could feel it. Bile rose in her throat, she sprinted, searching every shadow, every corner. And then, she spotted something, a flash of pink at the edge of the gas station, just at the tree line. Her breath caught. "Lily!" She rushed forward but stopped dead, horror paralyzing her. There stood a small group of children, their eyes vacant, their mouths wide in mirthless smiles. They formed a circle, and inside it, her daughter knelt, staring up at them, vacant yet entranced. "Lily!" The children turned to her in unison, their laughter pealing through the air, a jarring sound that echoed both joy and unearthly menace. Sarah's heart sank. What were they doing to her? The darkness shifted. A shadow loomed over her. Whispers grew louder, and she knew another choice had to be made. Would she confront the truth of the gas station's curse or snatch her daughter away before it was too late? Just then, a blur darted toward her, and the air crackled with tension. "Mommy!" Before she could move, the ground beneath her shook, and a voice boomed from the depths of the shadows. "One must stay for another to leave the gas station," erupted in. Wind, shadows swirling like a tempest. Sarah knew she had to act, but what would be the price? Would the secrets of the cursed gas station finally unveil in this final confrontation, or was she sealing her fate and her daughter's forever? As she lunged forward, time itself seemed to stretch, preparing for a revelation that could shatter them both. Sarah's heart thundered in her chest, drowning out the mocking laughter of the children circling Lily. She had to act. The air crackled with a malevolent energy, each breath filled with the scent of decay and something unfathomably ancient. The ground beneath her feet felt alive, shifting as if it were a beast awakening from slumber. "Lily!" she shouted again, fighting against invisible chains that seemed to bind her to the earth. "Come to me." Lily's gaze remained fixed on the children, her small hands resting limp on her knees. The circle around her pulsed like a heartbeat, their pale faces illuminated by an eerie glow that flickered like flame. The chilling whispers danced around Sarah, each word taunting her. "Let her go, she belongs with us now." Energy surged through her, the instinct of a mother igniting a flame of defiance. "No!" she screamed, forcing herself forward, pushing against an invisible wall of darkness that fought to hold her back. She reached out with trembling hands, desperation fueling her actions. As she broke into the circle, the laughter intensified, screaming through her ears like shards of glass. The moment her fingers brushed against Lily's shoulder, a shockwave rippled through the air. The children recoiled, their smiles flickering into expressions of rage. "One must stay," they chanted, their voices rising in unison like a twisted hymn. Lily blinked, momentarily breaking free from the trance. "Mommy, I'm scared." Her voice was a shaky whisper, pulling at Sarah's heart. "I'm right here, sweetheart. Just come with me," Sarah urged, her fingers wrapping tightly around Lily's arm, ready to pull her away. But the grip of the other children tightened, a mixture of fearsome laughter mingled with the echo of cries in pain. Just as Sarah felt her resolve slip, the voice boomed again, deeper this time, reverberating through the ground. "One must stay for another to leave." A rush of cold surged around Sarah, freezing her in place. The gas station's shadow loomed above, a monstrous presence pressing against her mind. The flickering lights from the pump swung violently, casting monstrous silhouettes against the trees. Sarah's legs trembled as shockwaves coursed through the air, threatening to rip her family apart. "Please!" she cried, scrambling to maintain her connection with Lily. "You can't take her." Her own fears clawed at her. What would it mean to lose her child? Doomed to wander aimlessly like those portraits within the station. The children snarled, their forms rippling like smoke. "It is the price, something must replace the lost child." They whirled faster, the edges of their beings blending into the darkness, swirling chaos. "Who?" Sarah shouted, her voice cracking. "Who must take her place?" Suddenly, the swirling forms coalesced into one, and from within emerged the twisted face of the girl she had encountered earlier, her eyes gleaming with mischief and malice. "Someone must remain, to keep us alive." Fear gripped Sarah with icy fingers as the truth clawed its way out from the shadows, a truth she was not ready to face. The children reached for her, intent on pulling her, her daughter, into their eternal game. She had to choose to snatch Lily away, risking the life of another, or surrender to the spell of the gas station. The wind howled, and panic surged through her veins, a choice she never wanted. Amidst the chaos, a flicker of something caught her eye, a glimmer of hope, but it was fleeting, lost in the darkness surrounding them. Time stretched painfully. Sarah's instincts screamed as the figures advanced. Would she sacrifice another child for her own, or could she find a way to break the curse without bearing that weight? The shadows closed in, whispering secrets of old, and in that chilling moment, she knew one thing: the final decision loomed. What would be the cost of safety, and who would truly pay? As she stood on the precipice of a nightmare, another shriek ripped through the air, ready to shatter her resolve. "Mommy!" Lily's voice pierced through the tempest, a haunting reminder of what was at stake as the darkness moved. The chilling confession waited to spill out, offering a revelation that could either save them or drag them both into all-consuming despair. The darkness extinguished all light, leaving only flickers of desperation behind Sarah's clenched eyelids. "Lily!" she screamed again, her voice choking on fear. The children's laughter morphed into a monstrous growl, reverberating around her like a firestorm. It felt like the wind was tightening around her throat, and she could barely breathe. "Mommy!" The raw terror in Lily's voice struck deep, shattering the tension like glass. Sarah's heart raced with renewed determination. Surrendering was not an option, but what choice did she truly have? She felt her grip on reality slip, the world around her distorting in time with the children's unholy chant. "One must stay, one must stay." The words became a sickly mantra, wrapping around her like vines, clawing at her skin. It took her a moment to realize she couldn't hear anything outside of that noise. She glanced around, her eyes darting through shadows that danced with unseen energy. The gas station loomed behind her, a dark sentinel watching the scene unfold. "Please! Don't take her!" Each word felt like a plea to the void, echoing back at her as haunting whispers. Then a shudder rippled through the air, and the children's forms hovered, flickering like candle flames caught in a storm. Lily trembled, eyes wide and glistening with tears as she still knelt in the middle of that wicked circle. "Mommy, help!" The scare in her whisper felt like a suffocating fog, wrapping around Sarah's heart and squeezing until she gasped for breath. Sarah's mind raced. She needed a weapon against them, something that would break their spell. As she combed the thoughts racing through her head, an image of the red gas canister they had left by the pumps flickered into view. With an urgency she couldn't control, Sarah spun around, eyes darting towards the flickering shadows at the gas station. Somewhere in the depths of her mind, hope ignited. If she could somehow ignite that fear, then maybe the circle could be broken. "Stay here!" she shouted desperately to Lily, pushing through the thrumming chaos, her heart pounding in her ears. The laughter of the children crescendoed, drowning out her commands as they twisted like serpents, coiling around Sarah in a damp embrace of malice. "You tread upon sacred ground you cannot escape." Ignoring the whispers that tried to sink into her mind, Sarah sprinted towards the pumps, her footsteps loud against the ground. It felt as if the earth quaked beneath her, as the shadows lunged for her. They shrieked, their forms stretching and elongating, reaching out to drag her back into that dark, endless play. She dove to the ground, her fingers grasping the cold, dented canister. Fear and determination surged through her as she wrestled with the cap, twisting it off with a burst of adrenaline. "Get away from my daughter!" she howled, flicking the gas across the ground, the liquid glimmering like a sinister river beneath the dim lights. But was this truly her salvation or an even darker path? The children recoiled, screeching like beasts. Their faces warped back into shadows, revealing fleeting glimpses of vulnerable children twisted by anger and sorrow. "Mommy, please!" Lily cried louder, the sound of her voice cutting through the madness like a knife. Sarah hesitated as she fumbled the lighter from her pocket. The flame sprang to life, illuminating her wide, terrified eyes, and she felt the heat brush against her skin. The flicker of light pushed back the darkness for just a moment, but it wasn't enough. "Mommy, no!" Lily's voice dragged her back. Sarah felt the panic clawing at her throat. The decision weighed heavily. Did she summon fire with a purpose or condemn them to the dark together? The children lunged again, their faces a tumult of rage and sorrow, and Sarah's hand trembled as she held the lighter aloft. She felt it her moment of truth, the balance of life teetering on a knife's edge, but a shadow uncoiled around Lily. A hand shot forward, threatening to grab her. Without thinking, Sarah flicked the lighter into the air. The moment hung. Could any choice she made unravel the web of fate they were trapped in? As the small flame hovered in the air, casting light on twisted faces, Sarah realized one crucial truth: there was no escaping the darkness without igniting the fire within. Would the blaze save them, or consume them both? The answer loomed like an avalanche, ready to crash down. In a heartbeat, the lighter spiraled downwards, its flame flickering uncertainly as it fell. Time stretched like a taut wire. Just before the lighter splashed into the gas-soaked ground, a collective sharp intake of breath echoed from the swirling darkness. The children stabilized, their monstrous forms poised, mouths gaping in horrified anticipation. Then, the flame ignited, bursting forth like a long-held scream released into the night. The gas ignited instantly, erupting into a wall of fire that swallowed the darkness. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. For a fleeting moment, everything was illuminated. The children recoiled, their laughter erupting into shrieks of terror as the flames carved a fiery boundary between Sarah and the hellish circle. "Mommy!" Lily cried out, voice wavering, but now, it was the children who were trapped. "Come to me!" Sarah shouted, flinging out her arms toward her daughter, heart hammering as she fought the fierce heat surrounding her. The flames danced wildly, flickering off the children's faces, revealing not just their fury, but their profound sorrow. Yet, fear caught inside Sarah as she watched the shimmer of the fire. What had she unleashed? The shadows thrashed against the barrier, their forms melting and reforming, anger blending with desperate longing. "Let her go. I can't. The words slipped from her mouth like water, drowning in despair and doubt. Lily hesitated, her small body trembling, caught between the barrier of fire and the ghostly hands that clawed at her. With a surge of energy, Sarah surged forward, the flames curling around her like an angry serpent, licking at her skin. "Lily, come." The tiny figure knelt helplessly against the inferno. The shadows behind her twisted furiously, reaching out, whispering in twisted tongues. She must choose. One must stay. No. It can't be true. Sarah's voice broke, rage and fear mixing into a chaotic whirl. She thrust herself closer to the fire, feeling its heat singe her hair. "I will not leave you. We fight together." The flames swirled, suddenly alive with energy, as if answering her call. Tendrils of heat pushed the shadows away, and for a split second, the cacophony of cries faded, replaced by silence. It was an otherworldly moment, the air thick and crackling with tension. Then, out of that silence, one child stepped forward. "You can save her, but you must listen." His eyes gleamed, flickering with remnants of innocence. "She can't remain here. Please, just let me take her." Sarah begged, desperation pooling in her soul like a bitter poison. "What do you want?" The child paused, tilting his head slightly, his gaze piercing through shades of darkness. "It's not about wanting. It's about enduring. We guard this place bound by a choice long ago. If you save her, you must take her place." Sarah staggered back, the words landing like stones inside her chest. "No. I won't let my daughter suffer like you." The child's form wavered, a glimpse of a sad smile emerging. "Suffering is eternal unless you choose a different path." As the shadows swirled more violently, Sarah understood. This was manipulation, a fate twisting around her choices like a noose. She gasped, wrestling with the chaos. Could she risk everything? Was she strong enough to wield the same power the shadows wanted to use against her? "Fight with me, Lily." But Lily remained transfixed, vulnerability etched across her face, wavering between her mother and whatever fate the shadows had planned for them both. Then, it happened. A deafening roar erupted from the flames, as if hearing her plea, and a wave of terror surged. The shadows lunged, streaking toward Lily, their eyes wild with hunger, dread snatched at Sarah's gut. She couldn't let it end this way. With one last visceral scream, she plunged her hands through the fire, a raw sensation encompassing her. For Lily, for herself, she would draw on every ounce of strength hiding deep within. Together. In that instant, she felt a link, the connection of desperation pinning back the shadows, tearing the fabric of the choices forced upon them. But the flames surged wickedly, burning brighter than ever. What cost was she willing to pay? Before she could figure it out, the darkness surged closer, and all Sarah could see was the glimmer fading in Lily's eyes. "Mommy." It wasn't over yet. The shadows were hungry for choice. "What will you sacrifice?" echoed the child's voice, resonating deeply in the haze of the fire. The inferno swirled, and Sarah felt that the ground shuddered beneath her feet. One final decision loomed as time warped around them. What price must she pay to save the light? The flames roared violently, crackling like 1,000 angry whispers, lighting up the darkness in a grotesque display of orange and red. Sarah felt the heat, fierce and relentless, as she fought against the grip of fear tightening around her throat. She could see Lily's face wide-eyed, terrified. Was she losing her? The child's voice cut through the chaos again, like a knife. "What will you sacrifice?" The words echoed in Sarah's mind, a terrifying riddle. She needed a plan. She couldn't leave Lily to the clutches of the shadows. Panic surged as darkness clawed at her, growing bolder, pushing at the edges of the fire. It threatened to suffocate the light before her, threatening to drag her daughter into the pit of despair that surrounded them. "Lily. You have to trust me." Sarah screamed, her lungs burning from the heat. "You are stronger than this." Lily's trembling hands reached out, hovering just above the flames, courage battling with the deep-seated dread weaving a tight web around her heart. Sarah leaned closer, her fingers almost grazing the dancing flames. The fire felt alive, a pulsing entity that either guarded or threatened everything she held dear. We can't give in. You are the light. You're not meant to stay here. The shadows reacted, a wave of anger surging toward them, howling like a storm. The child stepped back, exposing how fear had sown doubt into its innocent guise. A realization struck Sarah: the shadows thrived on despair, manipulating them with twisted truths and hunger for chaos. Listen, we're not afraid of you, Sarah declared, raising her voice above the din. Every ounce of her energy fueled her determination. She wouldn't let Lily be a pawn in their game. We will not choose suffering. We choose to fight. As if struck by a beacon of hope, the flames flared higher, blue and white licking the air. And with that fire came a surge of power that Sarah had never felt before. It coursed through her veins. She was more than just a mother. It felt like the spirit of others lost, those shadows, flickering in the depths. Lily. But Lily was losing her grip. The shadows thrummed with insatiable hunger, feasting on her uncertainty. They twisted, fabricating horrors from memory, twisting her fears against her. Mommy, I don't know if I can. In that moment, Sarah realized it wasn't just about saving Lily. It was about confronting her own fears. She had to show her daughter that love was strength, not weakness. Close your eyes, Lily. Feel my love. I am not leaving you. They stood together, connected by a fragile bond that felt invincible amidst the consuming shadows. Sarah shut her eyes, guarding against the fear, the burning terror nagging at her sanity. Take my hand, my light. Suddenly, the shadows recoiled, sensing a shift. The air thickened with electric tension as if the world held its breath. You seek to fight. You will pay the price. The child warned, a malevolent gleam lighting his eyes. Sarah's heartbeat thundered in her ears as she retorted, then we'll pay whatever it takes. In that heartbeat, the world twisted. Time stretched and warped, and Sarah felt a sinking dread in her gut, weighing down her resolve. The shadows writhed, desperate to entrap them both, and terror clawed at the edges of her mind as doubt seeped through her resolve. Do you understand what is at stake? A chilling wind swept through the flames, encircling them. You may fight, but shadows always hunt, always return. The flames wavered, flickering against the blue sky darkening overhead. For one terrifying moment, clarity sliced through the confusion. Then, everything exploded. A piercing scream shattered the night, echoing off unseen walls, shaking Sarah down to her bones. Was it Lily? Was it her? In the aftermath, blistering silence descended like an oppressive blanket, leaving Sarah gasping, battling against the encroaching darkness that threatened to swallow her whole. She felt the edges of reality bending, her own mind teetering on the brink. Mommy? The voice whispered, weak and trembling, but not lost. Her heart leaped, pulling her back. Lily. But the shadows hesitated. Suddenly, they seemed afraid, retreating into a swirling mist of despair. What had she awakened? Would they be free, or was this just the beginning? Around them, a dark presence gathered, and in the depths of that stillness, Sarah sensed a greater threat lurking just out of reach. As darkness whispered secrets she was not yet ready to hear, Sarah's heart pounded wildly in her chest. What new horror awaited them? Would they emerge triumphantly, or would the flames hold a deeper price? In that moment, fear consumed her. And the unearthly voice echoed one last time, you cannot hide from the truth. They had chosen, but at what cost? Sarah blinked rapidly, trying to pierce through the thickening shadows, her pulse hammering like a drum in her ears. Lily! She cried, but her voice was swallowed up by the thickening gloom. The air felt electric, charged with a sense of impending doom. She could barely see her daughter now, the little form almost lost in the encroaching darkness. Mommy, I'm scared. Lily's voice quaked, edged with desperation. I know, baby. But we can't let them take you. Sarah's throat tightened as she fought to maintain her composure, the weight of her failure pressing down on her chest. She remembered the features of the shadow child, its eerie eyes filled with a twisted glee. What did it want? What would it demand? Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. Black tendrils shot out from the edges of the flickering fire, slithering like snakes eager to ensnare their prey. A low growl reverberated, vibrating through their bodies, and Sarah felt the shadows creeping closer, smelling her fear. No! Sarah screamed, channeling every ounce of her strength. You can't have her. As if responding, the fire danced violently, crackling fiercely, trying to push them back to safety. But the shadows surged forward, a wall of darkness threatening to engulf them. They twisted and curled, forming grotesque shapes, faces that mirrored their worst nightmares, swirling like a whirlpool of torment. Lily. Sarah felt the heat of her daughter's hand slipping from her grasp, the innocence of the child overshadowed by the darkness looming around them. You have to hold on. Think of your favorite place, the park. The flowers. The sun. It's waiting for us. I can't. Lily cried, trembling. It hurts, Mommy. The shadows wailed in agreement, mocking them, each mournful sound a reminder of despair. Sarah felt her resolve shatter like glass, cracks formed in her determination, and she clung to the shreds of hope. Listen! She shouted, desperation spilling from her lips. We're not losing to you. You thrive on our pain. But I want to be afraid. The shadows paused, as if struck by her fierce declaration. For a moment, everything stilled. The flames flickered, casting bizarre shadows that twisted and turned, as if they were alive. Then, as if in rebellion against her defiance, a scream echoed through the void, a sound that twisted her insides. It was an unholy chorus of all her worst fears, each note raw and bleeding. Shadows shifted, preparing to swallow her whole. Sarah's heart raced as she realized the truth. They had to sever the bond of fear. We are love. She screamed. We don't belong to you. With that, something ancient seemed to stir. An unseen force rippled through the air, a chill that made her shiver. The darkness began to reel away, conflicted, fighting against an invisible power. The flames soared into the air, licking and swirling, a brilliant crown of light that fought valiantly against the approaching night. Lily, your light is strong. Remember who you are. But Lily faltered, her tiny face a mask of confusion. Mommy, I'm scared. What if we can't win? No. Sarah insisted, tightening her grip. You must believe. What did we always say? Love conquers all. A moment of clarity pierced through the fog. That's right. We face them together. With love. Tears streamed down Lily's vulnerable cheeks as she took a deep, shuddering breath. With love. At that, a blinding white light exploded from the core of the fire, pushing back the shadows like an unstoppable tide. Shadows writhed as if burning, and for a heartbeat, Sarah felt hope. But before they could grasp it, the air thickened, brewing a storm of despair that felt tangible, like a weight on their chests. Pay the price, then. The child's voice sliced through the air, sharp and menacing. Suddenly the ground cracked open beneath them, pulling at their feet. Sarah stumbled, anchoring herself against Lily, but the darkness loomed, hungry, full of anticipation. She could feel the shadows closing in, 1,000 voices whispering promises of suffering. Mommy! Lily shrieked, clutching her mother's arm, eyes wide with terror. What do they want? Just as Sarah opened her mouth to answer, a deep rumble roared from the open abyss beneath them, exposing a chasm of swirling darkness. And then Sarah understood, it was not just about them anymore. No. This was a reckoning that wasn't only their own. All they had to do was cross the threshold. With one final surge, the shadows lunged forward and every question hung suspended in the air. Would they cross into the ultimate sacrifice or reclaim their strength? Mommy, as the last light flickered, and the shadows leaped, a voice resonated in the silence. What will you truly sacrifice? In that breathless moment, Sarah's mind raced, teetering on the edge of desperation and resolve, waiting for the choice to be made. As darkness rushed toward them, she braced for the worst as the ground began to tremble violently beneath both of their feet. What was about to happen? The chasm beneath them widened, the shadows writhing like angry serpents desperate to consume anything in their path. Sarah clutched Lily, panic igniting in her chest. We need to jump. She shouted, the words bursting from her lips as the ground shook more violently. Are you crazy? Lily screamed, her tiny hands tightening around her mother's arm, eyes wide with fear. No. Sarah snapped, her heart pounding like a drum against her ribcage. We have to. Trust me. But before she could finish, the shadows seized the moment, their dark tendrils snaking towards them in a vortex of terror. The air was thick with despair, and a voice like a haunting whisper slithered through the chaos, dripping with malice. The one who hesitates suffers the most. Sarah, please. I don't want to. I know, baby. She cried desperately. But we can't let it win. We have to face it together. Taking a deep breath, Sarah glanced into the abyss, its depths swirling with darkness and uncertainty. A chilling memory flickered in her mind, the time she lost her father. The grief almost consumed her then. Just like this, shadows encroaching on her heart. The pain had handed her fear, but it was also where she had found her strength. We can be more than fear, Lily. We are love, remember? Lily nodded, uncertain but willing. On 3. Sarah shouted, her voice steady despite the terror roiling around them. 1, 2. The darkness lunged, a wave crashing down, tendrils grasping eagerly at their legs. 3. With one powerful motion, Sarah leaped forward, pulling Lily along with her. The moment they crossed the threshold, a blinding light exploded around them, consuming the shadows in a cacophony of screams. The two were enveloped in a surge of warmth, a radiant shield against the cold clawing darkness, but the respite was brief. The screams intensified, and the ground shifted beneath them again, more unpredictable than before. Shadowed figures materialized at the edges of their vision, faces twisted in rage. Fools! One howled. You cannot escape what awaits. You are bound by your fears. Mommy! Lily's voice trembled, and Sarah felt her daughter's grip waver. Hold on tight. We'll get through this, I promise. Yet as they pushed forward, the landscape morphed around them into a chilling mockery of their memories. The park they often visited twisted into a sinister replica, flowers withered, colors bleached to a pallid gray under a sky that churned like a storm. We've been here before. Lily gasped, fear gripping her throat. Yes, but it's not real. Sarah shouted, rage beginning to boil inside her, merging with her fear. You are safe with me. Remember our happy moments? The laughter. We'll recreate it, I swear. The shadows seethed, retaliating with a shriek of laughter that curdled the air. You are bound to suffer. We are the guardians of your pain. Not today. Sarah growled, pitching forward, her heart now a beacon of defiance. We will overcome you. As the shadows surged once again, the memories of joy flooded her mind, bright and vivid. The image of Lily laughing, the way sunlight danced on her hair like golden threads, ignited a fire within her. Suddenly, the shadows stopped, hesitating, as if hitched on a thread of vulnerability. Seizing the moment, Sarah grasped Lily's small hands in hers, summoning every ounce of love within her. Together, Lily. We can break their hold. On 3 our happy place. Okay. Lily replied, her voice a bit bolder now. 1, 2, 3. As they shouted the words, the world around them hummed, beginning to fracture. Bright colors surged from their intertwined hands, pushing back against the suffocating darkness, turning despair into a vibrant tapestry of life, but the shadows wouldn't yield easily. You think love can conquer all? They hissed, a frenzy rising in their voices. The ground shook violently, and reality began to splinter. "Mommy, what will happen?" Lily breathed, fear creeping back into her voice. "It won't end here," Sarah yelled, pushing against the tide of shadows. "We are more powerful than they know. We just need to believe." Just as the first rays of hope broke the dark, the shadows spread out before them, unveiling the chilling figure of the Shadow Child. Its eyes glowed with malicious glee, taunting them, whispering of the price they would have to pay. "Will you pay it? Or shall I remind you of your darkest secrets?" And with that, the ground beneath them roared, threatening to swallow them whole once more, leaving them teetering on the brink of an irrevocable choice. What would they sacrifice to find the truth? The darkness pulsated around them, a living thing, and Sarah felt it clawing at her sanity. The flesh of her palms prickled against Lily's warmth. The Shadow Child hovered closer, its ghastly grin stretching impossibly wide, sending a chill down her spine. "Secrets, secrets, everyone has them," it crooned, its voice echoing like a twisted lullaby. "You think you can escape me? I was born from the shadows of your past." "No," Sarah shouted, forcing the sound through the weight of turmoil. "You're wrong. We're not afraid anymore." The words felt insufficient, but she could see doubt flicker in Lily's eyes. "Mommy," her daughter whimpered. "Stay close," Sarah urged, pulling Lily closer. "Remember, love conquers all." With every ounce of willpower, she focused on happier moments: an afternoon at the beach, Lily's first birthday, the sound of their shared laughter, and summoned them forth, allowing them to draw new strength from what should have been safe. The shadows shrieked. "Your memories will betray you. They hold pain. You have sacrificed so much." A quick movement cornered Sarah, the ground split, tipping at an impossible angle. Despair churned inside her, and the memories began to twist into distorted creatures: her father's face, a mask of anguish, accusing her of failure. The sight made her falter. "Mommy, the shadows!" Lily cried, her voice small against the chaos. "Keep your eyes on me," Sarah bellowed over the din, forcing herself to remain focused. "Look at me, Lily. Remember our happy moments. We're stronger than this." But as they stumbled through the darkness, the twisted figures from their past beckoned, a haunting parade of regrets and indiscretions. Voices echoed around them, mingling sorrow and accusation. "You left him behind. You let him go." Tears streamed down Sarah's face as the chorus of her failures amplified. "No," she shouted into the void, desperate. "I can't go back. I want tea." The Shadow Child danced, a macabre puppeteer leading the grief-laden shadows that swirled around them. "Then what price will you pay today? Sacrifice your heart? Your motherhood?" Sarah's breath hitched, the weight of the demand pressing against her chest. Instinctively, she tightened her hold around Lily. "I'll never sacrifice you," she spat defiantly. "Ah, but your love, is it strong enough to redeem you both?" The Shadow Child laughed, filling the air with a chilling echo. "You can save one of you. Choose wisely." "Mommy, choose me," Lily cried, panic flooding her voice. "No," Sarah insisted, clutching her daughter tighter. "We'll find a way, Lily. A way to fight." With renewed determination, Sarah concentrated on the love they shared, picturing it like a shield, radiant and translucent, providing warmth against the encroaching cold. The shadows seemed to waver at her resolve, momentarily distracted by the brilliance of imagined joy. But doubt wormed its way into her thoughts, slowly spilling into her heart. What if it's true? What if the darkness wouldn't yield? Sarah felt a wave of despair wash over her, drowning her resolve. "Your darkness is just a flicker," the Shadow Child hissed, as if mimicking her exhaustion. "Let them burn, let your choice be made. Embrace the shadows or flee from them." The ground trembled again, more violently, and force pulled at Sarah, drawing her dangerously close to the abyss, swallowing every ounce of hope. "Lily!" she cried, gripping her daughter tighter, desperate not to lose her. The child's gaze was wide, flooded with tears and fear. "Mommy, what do we do?" The shadows shifted, closing in on them like ravenous wolves, unfurling their sinister claws. Time is running out. Caught between love and sacrifice, Sarah's heart raced erratically. She could feel the shadows whispering secrets, pulling at her memories. With no space for hesitation, she would have to act. Would the love she fought for withstand the darkness? Would they unite against the plight of their broken past? As the shadow child laughed maniacally, its voice intertwining with the howling winds, Sarah steeled herself to make the ultimate sacrifice. But was she ready for the consequences? In that crucial moment, she glimpsed a familiar face woven into the chaos, a lost father, a bittersweet echo of forgiveness. Could the past be the key? And at that very moment, they fell into a bottomless pit, the screams enveloping them as they plunged deeper into despair. What would await them at the bottom? Could they confront their deepest fears together, or would shadows claim them forever? The abyss opened wide beneath them, shadows swirling hungrily as they fell into the darkness. Sarah's heart pounded a frantic beat, echoing with a primal fear of what lay below. But amidst the chaos, an ember of hope sparked in her soul. They were together, and together they would fight. "Hold on tight, Lily!" she shouted, adrenaline surging through her veins like wildfire. "We can do this. We choose love, remember?" Lily nodded, her small hand grasping Sarah's tighter than ever. "We are love!" she cried back, her voice ringing with a fragile courage. The words themselves felt like a shield against the encroaching shadow, and suddenly everything began to shift, time warped around them. As they fell, a radiant glow ignited from within, illuminating the dark descent. Memories swirled around them, sunsets, laughter, warmth, all painting a vivid tapestry of joy and love. With each flicker, they gained strength, building a shimmering wall against the relentless darkness seeking to envelop them. As they fell deeper, the shadow child's laughter pierced through the whirlpool of memories. "You think your love can save you?" it taunted, the voice dripping with cynicism. "You are merely prolonging the inevitable. One of you must pay the price." "No!" Sarah shouted, her voice a blade cutting through the tension. "We will not pay that price. We choose each other." The shadows surrounded them, writhing with anger, dark tendrils attempting to latch onto their hearts. But Sarah felt a surge of defiance wash over her. "We are not afraid." Suddenly, the ground transformed beneath them into solid ground, surprising them both as they stumbled into a new reality, a place that was neither the gas station nor the shadows. The air was lighter here, and for a moment, they stood amidst a field of wildflowers, bathed in golden sunlight. Lily gasped, her expression lit with wonder. "Where are we?" Sarah knelt beside her, clutching her daughter's shoulders. "It doesn't matter. What matters is that we make a choice. Together." But the shadow child lingered at the edges of the field, its form shifting in and out of the sunlight. "You cannot escape your fate," it screeched. "You must offer a sacrifice." Sarah steeled herself, determination burning in her chest. "We will not be a part of your game. Love is not a sacrifice but a strength." The shadows erupted, swirling aggressively as if they were angered by the defiance. The child laughed, its voice echoing like thunder. "But you, Sarah, carry the weight of secrets, guilt, pain. That is your burden, and it will decide your fate." Images flashed in her mind, memories of loss, disappointment, fear, each threatening to unravel her resolve. But she steadied herself and turned to Lily, who looked up with wide, trusting eyes. "No matter what," Sarah whispered fiercely, "I will fight for us. We are love." Lily nodded fiercely. "Together, Mommy." With a rallying cry, Sarah held her daughter's hand tightly as the shadows lunged forward, mouths twisted in rage. They faced the darkness head-on, the brilliance of their bond pushing back against the evil that sought to consume them. A wave of pure love surged forth, a radiant light emanating from their clasped hands, beating like the hearts within their chests. The darkness recoiled, and the shadow child faltered, its twisted form flickering, as if struggling against their united strength. We will not let fear control us. We choose love, we choose light. Sarah declared, feeling the weight of every fear lift from her shoulders, replaced by clarity and power. Every moment spent with Lily filled her with determination. The light burned brighter, washing over the field, casting luminous shadows that intertwined with the darkness. The shadows howled and screamed, a cacophony of despair, but as the two pushed forward, they broke through, shattering the chains that held them in this dark game. With one mighty burst, the remnants of the darkness crumbled away, consumed by the warmth of their love and choice. The shadow child shrieked, dissolving into vaporous mist, its power extinguished by the light. The world shifted again. They found themselves standing back in the gas station. But this time, there was an unfamiliar calm. The flickering lights now pulsed with warmth, and the portraits of the missing children shimmered before them. "Mommy, we did it!" Lily squealed as she twirled, overwhelmed with joy. Sarah knelt down, pulling her daughter into a fierce embrace. "Yes, we did, my love. Together." And with the darkness behind them, they knew their journey wasn't over. It would take time to heal, to face the ghosts of the past, but with love guiding them, every shadow could become a beacon, a reminder of the bond they shared, stronger than fear and rooted in truth. As they stepped outside into the lingering night, the stars shone brilliantly above, and Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. They would forge ahead, unraveling the past and embracing the future, one brave step at a time. The gas station stood still, silent now, a place that could no longer hold their fears. They left it behind, and a new dawn awaited them, a world full of possibilities and the promise of brighter days. Share this message with everyone because the fight against darkness is eternal, and remember, love conquers all. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the next heart-pounding stories. Smash that like button now to help us reach more people who need to hear this. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Stand with us. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel.